Hi guys, so today I am prepping the barn for me to be away for a couple days, so I started by stocking up on shavings and grain, so those who are taking care of the barn for me while I'm gone are completely stocked up and don't have to worry about running out of anything. If you know me, you know that I run this barn. My parents own it, so they do live on site, so luckily they are able to take care of things for the couple days that I'm gone, and my friends help out with stalls and the manual labor like that, which I'm very, very lucky to have friends that do that for me. It's not necessarily a fun thing to be doing every day, but I'm very blessed to be surrounded by people who want to help and who like this sort of thing. But anyways, so I started by obviously stocking up on the feed room, and then I get to stalls. I ran out of shavings like a day or two early, which left my stalls a little barren, but I go ahead and strip them the best I can so they are as clean as possible, starting with a clean slate. And then I went hunting for fly gear. As you can see, we have a couple of professional strippers in the pasture, and I ended up finding Mella's fly mask and a bonus little piece of trash there, which never find too much of that. And then I squeezed in some time to get Diesel's hand walking session in. I try to get at least 2 sessions in each day while he's on stall rest, and this is honestly the thing that's stressing me out the most about leaving for these 2 days. And I know my friends and my family have everything under control and he'll be in the best possible hands and nothing will change in terms of his care, but being his mom, it really is tugging on my heartstrings to leave him and not be monitoring him 24/7. And again, I know he'll be completely fine, but it's just really hard to not have physical eyes on him every single day, 24/7. And I really think part of my worry is coming from his mental state. Like, I'm not worried about his physical well-being. I know they'll absolutely be taken care of and everything will be fine. But with being on stall rest and just knowing him so well, I just worry about his mental state. So I spent a lot of time, bathing him, grooming him. He gets really disgusting really easily. He's a little piggy. But I made sure he got a nice bubble bath with lots of belly scratches, and he was feeling nice and happy and fresh and clean before I headed out. Then he got to do his favorite thing, which is sit under his fan and dry while I finish some barn chores. As you can see, he just loves it. He sits there and falls asleep, and I let him dry before we continued the grooming. And I washed out some water buckets, got them nice and scrubbed and fresh and clean, whatever I'm trying to say. And then I brought Dixon back inside. He was outside while I cleaned his stall, and he very much appreciated the fresh water and fresh stall. Then I got back to grooming, where I used my Sport Horse Essentials coat spray, favorite thing in the world. As you can see, he's so shiny and healthy from it. Diesel's got chronic yearling tail is what I call it. I don't know if it's his height or how much he uses his tail, but he just rips his tail apart. So I do a lot of tail care for him, and I took some Shoshin and brushed it out after I did a deep condition while I gave him a bath. And then I've been putting coconut oil on the ends to help them heal and stop breaking. And that's been helping a lot and helps keep his tail detangled until the next tail session. I don't know where the clip went where I showed the bottle of this, but then I took the Sport Horse Essentials fungus spray and I got all of his little dry skin areas and his cannon crud, which he gets really bad because he keeps a really nasty stall and pees more than any horse I've ever met in my life. So I got all that taken care of, and as you can see, it is looking so much better since I've been consistently putting this on and got his little elbow grease spots. I also really like to use it on his cuts, which he likes to get on his face because he is a ding-dong, and it helps heal. And then I broke out the swat and got that all over his face because you can see the bugs really were getting to his face, and he was being a turd, so I had to go off camera a little bit and hold him down because he knows his height, so every once in a while he'll use that against me, but I had to get him to stand still to put the swat on. And then it was time to tackle his stall, which, as you can see, he keeps it a complete pigsty, even though it gets cleaned 2 to 3 times a day. And the stall rest really doesn't help. But then I got really mad about these mats for some reason and ended up just tearing them out so they weren't a nuisance while I was gone. He keeps a big water bucket on the ground. He doesn't crib on stuff that's low down. Pro tip. So he got his nice new stall with 2 hay nets to keep him occupied because he's a dork. And then here's a little insight into my hay soaking ritual. This is just the process that I've figured out that works for me. I keep 2 small laundry baskets in my big wheelbarrow, and I put about 2 flakes in each laundry basket. And then I take it back to the wash stall, and this is where things get weird. I put a Rubbermaid on top of the hay, and then I put water in the Rubbermaid to help weight the hay down so it doesn't float up. And then I start soaking the actual hay itself and leave that for a little bit. I was prepping this for the evening feed. We've got a horse that is insulin resistant, so he needs his hay soaked. And this is another thing I was kind of worried about leaving for other people to take care of, only because it's a nuisance and I know it can be really annoying and I feel bad having other people do it for me, but it's really not that big of a deal, and I've made a system that kind of works for me. And then I tackled this situation, which I don't like, again, leaving messes for other people to feel like they have to deal with. And obviously I wouldn't expect anybody to clean this up for me, but I don't want people walking by it and having it just be a mental nuisance in their day. They're already doing so much for me, and I don't want to leave a mess that would get in their way in any way, shape, or form, or make things hard to find for them. The one thing that really bothered me that I couldn't get done before I left was get all this hay in the hay shed. It just wasn't in the cards to get organized for the day, so I had to leave that, but I got the aisleway blown out with the leaf blower, and then I raked in front of the barn to get all that picked up. If I leave all that wet hay and all that nasty stuff in front of the barn, the flies just love it, and they will all collect, and it gets so disgusting. Speaking of disgusting, I got the litter box cleaned out for the cats, and then I went ahead and restocked the refrigerator so whoever's in the barn has fresh cold water. Speaking of fresh cold water, I went ahead and scrubbed all of the water troughs. They weren't really that nasty, but I didn't want anyone else to feel like they had to worry about it while I was gone. So I got them all cleaned and filled up, and they've been going through water like crazy in this heat. So I'm hoping it'll be easier to just keep them filled rather than having to scrub them and fill them. I had lots of really wonderful and sweet helpers to do this, thank goodness. And then I went back inside, and the run-in stalls really were not that bad. The horses don't spend a lot of time in there. They prefer to be out grazing, but for some reason I decided that I needed to get that done, even though I was totally running late. But I'm glad I did, because they were a little worse than I originally expected. And again, I had really wonderful help. Elliot made sure every poop was there that he worked so hard on, and made sure to inspect my job. And then I went ahead and rinsed off the barn cart because it was smelling like manure, and it was just disgusting, and it was reeking and bleh, really nasty. And then I found another thing to waste my time on, even though I was running late, and went ahead and rinsed out the wash stall for some reason. But I'm glad I did. It helps with the flies. And then it was time to head out. I got my mom prepped on afternoon feeding. And as we were traveling, I wrote up my neurotic list of feeding and hay, and that's my boyfriend driving. I was not doing the iPad and driving at the same time. The next morning, I dropped him off, and then I had some time to relax. And it was really weird for me, and honestly, my anxiety is like bugging out of control, not being as active as I normally am. But it's giving me time to work on YouTube videos and stickers and everything else. I even got to watch some TV, which is so weird for me. But now I'm gonna upload this video, and I'll see you guys when I get back to the barn.